Hollow Knight fans have finally got their sequel in Silksong, but what other games are out there that might scratch that same itch? We're looking at the games that have intense atmospheres, sort of melancholic air to them, that also have tight combat platforming and a good amount of mysteries to uncover. And I'll be throwing in some curveballs to keep you on your toes, all of which I stand by as recommendations. At number 1, we're starting off with a game that is said to be heavily inspired by Hollow Knight, Nine Souls. In their own words, Nine Souls is a lore-rich, hand-drawn 2D action platformer featuring Sekiro-inspired deflection combat. That's what makes it a bit unique. It has the same sort of feel and the melancholic atmosphere, beautiful hand-drawn art, but you'll have to be the champion of parries to really get through Nine Souls. It also has this really cool Eastern-inspired art style with some futuristic-looking technology that really draws you in. It does feel like a work of art in many ways. They call the style Dao Punk, which I think is very fitting. So if you're looking for something similar to Hollow Knight with a ton of bosses to fight, little Eastern Dao Punk flair, definitely check out Nine Souls. You can find it on all modern consoles and PC. This one came out just a few years before Hollow Knight and has many of the traits that made it such a captivating experience. Ori and the Blind Forest is a beautiful game that is well worth trying out for any fans of Hollow Knight. This one definitely leans more into the platforming and puzzle aspect, leading some to say it's not quite a Metroidvania, but to me it evokes a similar feeling that I got when playing Hollow Knight. A sense of awe, curiosity about what comes next, and a tinge of frustration. The mystery of what comes next that really pulls you through the game has just enough story elements to make you want to continue. It may not have the highest skill requirements of any game on this list, but the beauty of the artistry on display and the feelings the game evokes as you play will carry your experience. A bit of a 2-for-1 special here. We've got Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights, and Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist. For those of you who love the dark, foreboding art style of Hollow Knight, you'll feel right at home in these games. In Ender Lilies, you join forces with various cursed knights as you play, gaining a variety of skills through them. If you want something a bit less dark, you can opt for Ender Magnolia, which brightens things up a bit. It's more fast-paced, has less difficult exploration and less backtracking. I'd say Ender Lilies leans a bit more towards the feeling of Hollow Knight, where you might get hopelessly lost for a little bit, but regardless of which of the two games you play, they're both fantastic experiences with their own unique flair. Ender Lilies is almost Souls-like in the structure of the combat, where you have to be very mindful of the actions that you choose to take. It's a cursed and tragic world that really pulls you in. You can get Ender Lilies and Ender Magnolia on all modern consoles and PC. Another set of two games that Hollow Knight fans shouldn't ignore, Blasphemous and Blasphemous 2. They're a bit more straightforward than the sprawling maps of Hollow Knight, but they have that awesome pixel art style, and it leans more towards the Souls aspects that were in Hollow Knight. The imagery in both Blasphemous games is more harsh and brutal with religious undertones. The combat is heavier and slower. I think people will enjoy these games for many of the same reasons that they love Hollow Knight, with heavy and mysterious atmospheres, awesome boss fights and visuals, and some hard challenges. And if you can make it through the first Blasphemous, many have found that Blasphemous 2 is more aligned with Hollow Knight in being an immersive and engaging experience. You can play both Blasphemous games on all modern consoles and PC. We may be going off the beaten track a little bit here, but I want to recommend Cave Story. This Metroidvania was massively influential for good reason. It's a lot of fun, and it did so many things that have carried over into many of the games in the genre that people love. What makes Cave Story unique is the old school feel with simple graphics that they managed to use very well to create environmental storytelling, and the weapons. Throughout the game, you find and upgrade a variety of weapons, some of them hidden, some of them given to you throughout the game, so you can decide how you'd like to play and what you'd like to use. It has a more linear storyline as well, with some very dark moments, and quirky comedic moments as well, as an amazing soundtrack, which might make it worth playing just to listen to. Cave Story is a classic game in the genre that everyone should at least try out. There are a lot of different versions, but I'd probably recommend Cave Story Plus because it's easier to get on a variety of platforms and it's very solid. You can get it on Switch or Steam. And speaking of classics, the classic Metroidvania that everyone needs to play, we have Castlevania Symphony of the Night. For those of you who love Hollow Knight for the sprawling maps, the amazing bosses, and the awesome atmosphere, recommending Symphony of the Night is a no-brainer. The entire thing takes place in a single castle, but that castle has so many twists and turns, so many changes, so much to it that you might find yourself getting turned upside down once or twice. One of the more unique aspects of Symphony of the Night is the equipment system, which has a ton of cool things to play with, including different weapons, armor, shields, accessories. It's a very deep system that can significantly change how you play. I highly recommend anyone that likes any sort of Metroidvania to give this one a shot. It's often recommended, and for good reason. There's so much here to love. Plus, when you play it, you can see the origins for many of the modern games that borrow from its ideas. And speaking of classics, for a third and final time, we have Dark Souls. I know, this one is a bit of a different sort of recommendation, but I would call this the second half of the Hollow Knight puzzle in some ways. The moment-to-moment gameplay is significantly different. Playing out in 3D, it obviously will be, but it has many similarities as well. Hollow Knight has clear influences here in the atmosphere and the concepts that you'll see as you play, the way that you'll come across NPCs that are just doing their own thing and don't necessarily have a clear use right away. You'll find similar levels of challenges. Exploration is a bit terrifying but super gratifying at the same time. Items and weapons change up the gameplay significantly when you find them. There's a ton to Dark Souls that feels similar to Hollow Knight. You just have to keep a bit of an open mind. So that's it. We have 7 games that are like Hollow Knight, a bit more if you count the sequels. There's a good variety with all their own unique ideas. There are plenty of other games I'm sure people would like to recommend. Make sure to put those in the comments. I do videos like these and on RPGs of all kinds, so if you like that, please do subscribe. Thanks for watching.